that from Orly?
It's from Orly. And so
Wow.
yes.
Wow.
Oh, hi.
Wow.
Orly, how did you know?
Smart.
So Somerset.
Yeah, so Dr. Severson tested biochemistry, very famous. Almost won many prizes, but he was going to run the biochemical program at an Army Research Institute called the Army Chemical Center. And he remembered me from being the research prize winner at Cornell. I went over and talked to him and said, "How'd you like to come and join me?" He said, "My God, of course, where are we going to go?" He said, "Well, the Army Chemical Center at Edgewood, Maryland." I said, "I got orders for Texas." He says, "Don't worry, I'll change them." And sure enough, the next day I got a telegram. "You're to go to Edgewood Arsenal, Edgewood, Maryland, the next couple of days." So this changed. Everybody here is here because of that. Otherwise, I would have been in Texas and across the seas and never would have seen Maryland. So Edgewood Arsenal was an interesting place. You all read about this serious business with the sarin gas. So we invented the sarin gas. We worked with it. We worked with nitrogen mustard gas. I was working with a fluoride gas called Z gas. And up the road was Fort Detrick, which worked with anthrax and all other poisonous toxins. And down the other road was the Army Ordnance Institute that tested artillery shells. And Edgewood Arsenal was the impact ground of the shells, and we'd be working at our desks or at home here, boom, and the ground would shake, and boom, and the ground would shake. They'd be shooting shells at us. Well, Lila was in Brooklyn, and I was there in Edgewood. I had a car. My parents were very generous. They were, in many ways, simple people, but they valued me. My brother had failed them. He unfortunately became terribly obese. And my father and he never got along. My sister married into a Jewish mafia family that they couldn't respect. As Roman people that you all heard about, these Romans, we were never proud about them. I went to my sister's wedding, and two of the people at the wedding were electrocuted a few years later.
Oh my God.
They were part of the Jewish mafia. So I was the one they had the most pride in, and they showered me with things. They gave me a car. And it was their car. They couldn't use it anymore. It's like I did it with Dave.
And that started a long tradition of parents giving
Handing
cars.
I drove here in your car.
Who in this apartment drove that white Ford Escort?
I didn't. I crashed us.
That was a great car. You crashed in like the first week of driving.
Yeah, I did. There was a hill.
It's a great excuse.
It ran in the family.
So this is 200 miles away. But, this is the Army. The war was still going on. We were fighting Germany. We were fighting Japan. But on Friday night, I would take my car and I'd go through the Army gates and I'd wave at the man on duty. He'd salute me. He wouldn't ask for my pass. I was supposed to have a pass to leave the post. Army regulations, you couldn't leave the post unless you got a pass by your senior officer. Well, I'd tootle up to Brooklyn and call on Lila on 22nd Street and Flatbush Avenue. And we'd go out drinking martinis and dancing the first night. And the next day I'd see her, we'd go out to dinner. And then Sunday back to Edgewood and do my work again.
I used to say goodbye to him at the old Penn Station.
Oh.
The old marvelous Penn Station. And people were coming and
Where's
going.
my phone?
What?
Where is it?
What?
You want me to get it?
No, it's, what time is it, 5:30 or 6?
That's
It's 20 minutes to 6.
Oh, it's Pam.
Want me to get it?
No, by the time you get there.
Anyway, I would say goodbye to him at Penn Station, and all the soldiers would be leaving and all the women would be left behind. But But that was Penn Station and war, you know, at the end of the war, at the beginning of peace. Just remarkable.
Well, we got engaged, and this was a difficult thing because my parents had a woman already picked out for me.
Uh-oh.
What was her name?
I've forgotten her.
He hasn't forgotten. He's just very
Is
nice.
she on Facebook? Let's look her up.
Elizabeth Taylor.
Mom.
No, she was a rather plain-looking girl. The only thing she had going for her, she came from a rich family. And in the tradition of the Jewish people, they tried to arrange marriages, but I wasn't going to buy it at all. So there was one classic day. My father wanted to talk to Lara. So we arranged for a dinner at the St. Regis Hotel in New York.
My father-in-law asked me to pick the nicest place in New York
He did.
so that we could have dinner. And I didn't think about kosher or non-kosher because he was kosher. But he came and he was very impressed with the room. It was one of the fancy society places.
Yeah.
I'd never been there. But I picked the nicest place I could think of because he said to. And he was trying to make conversation, and we got along beautifully, absolutely beautifully. I had no idea that it was going to work out that way.
You know, Lila didn't realize he was sent by my mother to bribe her. He was supposed to give her money to go to Europe
Oh my
and
God.
leave me. And that was the purpose of meeting her, but Lila
To go
charmed her
where?
so much, he did not do it.
Middle of World War
You
II?
gonna see the baby? Where's the
It
baby?
was after the war, right, at that point?
The war was over.
Oh, war was over.
You charmed him.
Yeah. So we married and had a lovely marriage.
It was a nice wedding.
And
Big
the wedding was at the Algonquin Hotel.
No. It was on 34th Street and Broadway.
What?
That was not the Algonquin.
Calvin.
It had the
McAlpin.
worst chicken dinner I've ever had.
Yeah, the-
You remember that?
I remember that dinner.
Wasn't gefilte fish and kishka on the menu?
Yes, not gefilte fish, but kiss.
I had my friends from Edgewood Arsenal come. This is a kosher.
Gefilte fish is safe for the holidays.
I had several of my army friends come up, the ones I was closest to. And one of the friends that I had come up was Murphy, the original husband of Happy Rockefeller. Happy Rockefeller's original name was Happy Murphy. And then she left Murphy to marry Rockefeller. But he, before he had met Happy, was at our wedding, plus others, and I hope he enjoyed that change. And then we're going to take Lila to our honeymoon bedroom night, and the phone rings. So who the hell's calling us in our bedroom? It's Lila's father. She said, how are you? Is everything okay? She says, yes. I'll never forget that phone call.
Why did he call?
That's a good question.
You know,
He wanted to show that he was as smart as we were.
Uh-huh.
That he could figure out where we were spending the first night of our marriage. And he did figure
we put it in the car and we had it for weeks. That was a very expensive wedding.
who knows?
Mine only cost $5.50 a person. And it was at the Duane, right around the corner from the Museum of
Oh,
Modern
your
Art.
wedding.
Yeah.
Your wedding.
No, but your wedding, they took the food home for
I,
it.
oh, that's good.
To go back to my wedding, we honeymoon. This is the first of our trips overseas. We honeymooned in Quebec and Montreal. We drove up old Route 9, stopped off at a wheezy little motel that had one blanket on a cold September night. We shivered through the night and got to this lovely, lovely city of Montreal. And I had my first really good non-kosher meal. I said, my God, what have I been missing all my life?
It was French food.
My
It was
life
French.
changed after that. from there we went to Quebec, where they refused to speak English to us, and, but we managed to get through Quebec. And either I got a nervous stomach or food poisoning or whatever it was.
Come on, let's go on with this story now.
Whatever it was. We cut the wedding, the honeymoon short by one day and drove back to Edgewood, where the Army had given me quarters. Now, World War I was a time of great Army construction. Edgewood Arsenal had been there then. And they had built bachelor officers' quarters then, which were little tiny row houses of wood.
Quonset hut. They were Quonset huts.
The roof, our apartment was only a quarter the size of what we have here. We had a living room with a bed in it. The kitchen was a slab with a 2-burner hot plate with a tin can on top of it to make an oven. We had an ice box with ice. And the shower was a galvanized tin slab with a shower head on it. So for $1 a month, I rented a real refrigerator from a local town. And we had kept the icebox for beer and used a real refrigerator. And Lila learned how to cook on that hot plate. It was very, very hard.